Hey guys, welcome back to finally another one of these after a really long break. I kind of figured it would be cool to make another one of these. I've been not really playing a whole lot of tower stuff lately because I've had a lot of like life to deal with. I have a job now, which is kind of cool, and I have college, and I've been playing a lot of Persona 3 Reload, as you'd probably expect. But I figured it would be cool to make another depth commentary, especially because this tower has so much in it that's like references to things that you might not get if I don't explain them. So hopefully, again, I know my mic sucks. Hopefully it's better this time than it used to be. It's kind of quiet when I tested it, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay as I play this. I'll try to play it legit as I always do. If that goes awry, I'll just no-clip the rest. But yeah, here we go. So, a lot of people have been asking me, first of all, this rap is funny. I had the idea for a longest time, like, okay, so if you put like a really hard jump at the start of a tower over an insta-kill, you could like kill tower rush players, but it technically wouldn't affect the tower's actual difficulty because you can just reset your run and redo the jump, right? So I figured I'd actually do that here, and here you have this 10-stud wrap raised by 1 over nothing at the start of the tower. Doesn't affect the tower's difficulty, but if you're in the tower rush, I mean, good luck, yeah. Anyways, you can talk to all the people in the town. They all have fun little things to say. Of course, yeah, friend and friend, they have a little dialogue there. But I'll just explain it to you. I won't make you actually listen to my dialogue. Wow, look at that. I won't make you listen to my dialogue, but the story of this tower generally is like, you're trying to get to the wind pad, right? The wind pad is, in this universe, it's this like special material called windpadium, but since it's powering the town, Kitagawa Village, the only way you can get it is by trading something even more valuable, which is a material known as bismolite. If you get the reference behind that name, I'm so sorry. But bismolite, that is more valuable and more powerful, that the town is willing to trade the windpadium for. But to do that, you have to voyage down into the center of the earth, which is the premise of the tower, which is also based on TODM, because I just think TODM is really cool and has cool atmosphere, so I wanted to replicate that. Yeah. There are probably a bunch of things I should have explained on this outside while I was giving you all the lore, but, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. You have, like, the flip launchers, which are a cool CCO that Calvin the Obvious made for me. I thought they'd be fun to mess with. Some people don't like them. Personally, I do, so sucks to suck. But, gee. And then you have the shift blocks, which are my, like, revenge on Tower of Shifting Slopes for not using them very well. I wanted to show that shift blocks could actually be a good mechanic, and I feel like I did that pretty well. I don't know. Here's a cool little mechanic here where you glide on trusses with the flip launcher. And of course the obligatory Ace Attorney song, because all my tower soundtracks ultimately are just games that I'm a fan of that have good soundtracks. But yeah, I wanted to really mess with, and a lot of people complain about this in the first couple floors, but I think it's a cool thing. I wanted to try messing with more cramped gameplay, because I feel like it can be super satisfying if you do it right, but if you know me, you know my towers normally are very, very open, have a ton of outsides, so I thought, let's challenge myself and do the opposite. Some people don't like what came of it. Personally, I do. I think this floor is pretty fun, especially once you learn it. Of course, you have double jumps. I don't get very original with my mechanics. The problem is, building with mechanics is like, in my opinion, the best way to come up with cool jump ideas. And the problem is I come up with too many jump ideas to use in one tower. So I end up writing them all down, and I want to use them in the next tower too. Check out this cool atmosphere. I want to use them like at some point, because I'm like, this idea is too good to just give up, so I have to bring the mechanic back in my next tower, but I don't want to use too many mechanics at the same time, so it becomes a thing of like, okay, well I just gotta keep using the same mechanics as long as I still have ideas to use with said mechanics, unless like the flip launchers, people really hate them. Luckily, my last tower that I'm making now, Citadel of Wish Park, because it's gonna be so long and grand, I can just really exhaust all my ideas and all the mechanics I've thought of. Sorry, I'm kind of screwing this up here. But, yeah, that's my idea. I'm just going to completely empty the barrel. I'm not going to leave anything unmade. All the ideas I ever had I'm going to try to fit them in somewhere. Anyways, that's enough about Wish Park. I'm playing Tobey. Yeah, that's a lot of talking. Yeah. So the layout for this tower generally has always kind of been the same. I know with a lot of my past towers, it's like I have these ideas that I can end up completely revamping, but no, there were always going to be like a couple of lava floors that were netted, and then an unsafe floor, and then the atmosphere was going to kind of shift to be darker for the second half, and that's exactly what I did. For these flicks, by the way, I know people have some trouble with them, just watch what I do. W, W in space, like that, and you'll just check bounce up. But yeah, the atmosphere, the general layout of this tower has always kind of been the same. There were a couple things I ended up changing. There was originally going to be a B side on like floor 9 that was going to get like progressively darker as you went down, which I thought was kind of cool. Oh god, I suck. Anyways, I'm going to show you this button progress that I added like halfway through building the tower. Here you go. Yeah. The B side was going to like progressively get darker as you went down and be really scary and punishing. But I realized there was just enough punishment in the tower already, and people don't seem to like that too much. So I ended up replacing it with another section that I will explain when I get to it. But yeah. The song on this floor, obviously, Risk of Rain 2. I've never actually played Risk of Rain 1 or 2, which I know I'm supposed to be ashamed of that. I promise I'll at least play Risk of Rain Returns eventually. I'm worried the gameplay isn't really my kind of thing. I was so proud when I came up with that. I'm worried the gameplay isn't really my kind of thing. Limbo reference. But I still think it's worth trying eventually because people just say it's so good. And here we are in a section that was originally supposed to be a lot more similar to like, I don't know if y'all have played like Mario 3D World, but you know how there was like the whole simmering lava lake shit with like the speed pads and you'd like go really fast? That was the general idea for this part of the tower. It doesn't look nearly as much as similar as I expected, especially because the hallway's a lot more cramped. But not that I mind. The terrain here is really cool. Storm did a lot of the terrain on the early floors. I did it mostly on the later floors, except he did it again on 10. But yeah, I will admit this was my attempt at kind of breaking free with design and like doing some cooler stuff, but I did have a lot of help. I did a lot on my own, but I did have a lot of help. I'm not that good at designing. These random like GBJ rooms were an idea that I've had for a while and that I felt very strongly about implementing. They kind of fade away towards the second half, but there's a specific one on 7 that Kaloy really hates, which I think is really funny. He falls into it like every time he plays the tower. Here's a ReZero song. ReZero is something, if you don't know the lore, like back when I got into the whole, like, quote-unquote hive mind friend group, you know, like, Kaloy, Dark Hallows, all those people. The people that, like, y'all normally associate with, like, us being together and building stuff together. It was actually ReZero that first brought us together. Like, back when I first joined that friend group, we were all watching ReZero together. And I thought it was kind of cool to, like, bring that back by using this song on this floor. Especially because a lot of people say this is one of the more powerful songs in the tower, which I agree with. I think it's neat. Here we go. E-Dance 2. Yeah, those dance club conveyor things, they first came from Teehee time. I made one of them just completely randomly. I was just messing around and I was like, you know what, conveyor dance club. And I don't know. I think they're really cool, and I also think they're a good way of like nerfing regular dance clip jumps because the timing's a bit more lenient since you don't have to jump immediately after you clip, which I think is neat. These giant void rooms are my way of circumventing my like cramped gameplay rule for myself because I have to make some giant jumps. It's part of my character. Also, another thing, and some people hate this, there is not a single teleporter transition anywhere in this tower. 0. Everything is done. The floors are interspersed in such a way that all the transitions are physically present, which a lot of people hate because they think the frame like absolutely sucks. But I don't know. I think it's really cool. I hate teleporter transitions, and I think it makes the tower a lot cooler when you can pull it off without it. Okay, this is my biggest point of pride in this tower. I made this entire section myself, and I think it looks really cool. This is probably the coolest thing I've made. Obviously, you can tell from the song and just the general aesthetic that this is based off of the deeper well in Amori. Especially, like, in particular, this giant cave here is based on the big, like, skull thing you walk into. If you've played the game, you'll probably remember what I'm talking about, but I've always wanted to make a section based on that. Actually, some of y'all probably know because it was a monthly, but me, Kaloy, and Adamir were originally going to make a Silent Abyss steeple called... Actually, no, it was going to be a tower called Tower of the Deep Well. But the problem was Kaloy was working on TOAE and I was working on TO&R at the time, and we didn't find the time to work on it. It was... If y'all who were around them will probably remember that, like, you pretty much had to choose either Silent Abyss or Zone A. I don't think anyone has a tower in both Silent Abyss and Zone A, because they were going on at the exact same time. You had to build from one or the other, and that was just what you were stuck with. It's unfortunate. The music changer button is gone. I was originally going to make it so you could, like, change the music in the second half to be... It was inspired by Nice Tasks. It was going to be more, like, unconventional stuff, like city pop, but it would have been a lot of effort to upload the songs, and people told me not to do it, so whatever. Yet again, those who know will know that this is based on Cosmic Cove Galaxy. There's this one star in Cosmic Cove that for some reason is always stuck in my mind forever, where you, like, go into a pipe and you end up in this 2D section with water that, like, water that moves around with all these, like, orange poles everywhere. I don't know. Again, if you remember it, you remember it. If you don't, you don't. But that was what gave me the idea to make this cool, like, I don't know, void? I don't even know you call this, like, vibe, but I think it's a neat thing. This section with the moving water everywhere, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. But yeah, the gameplay itself, oh shit, that was a fumble on my part. The gameplay itself here isn't, like, incredibly interesting. I just wanted it to be a bit more relaxing, because you just got through that super stressful floor 5 thing, and I figured my towers have enough stressful stuff. I want to play more, like, I've already mastered the whole, like, how to make people stress thing, as you probably all know if you've beaten TO&R. I'm very good at that. I'm very good at stressing people out. What a skill to have, I know. But I want to be able to do things in the other direction, too. I want to be able to make people feel rewarded when they do get past stuff that's really stressful. Especially because in Wish Park, there's going to be a lot of that. So, I figured making this whole section with, like, the water thing up there, the sinking thing, and then this Cosmic Cove. This is another Cosmic Cove reference, by the way. There's, like, another star, aside from the one with the moving water, where you have to, like, freeze the waterfalls. And we'll freeze all the water, but in doing so, freeze the waterfalls. And obviously, in the original game, you have to wall jump up the waterfalls, but that doesn't really exist in Roblox, so I instead made it so you have to lodge up the waterfall. It's the same general thing, but, you know. And then once you're done with all those, you can head down to my... No, I'd say this is my second favorite floor of the tower. It's probably Kaloy's favorite. But, obviously this is based off of the ruins in Undertale. Yet another kind of semi-relaxing floor, but it's getting a little bit more stressful. There's like one GBJ section on this floor. But obviously, you have these cool puzzles here. And the puzzles, obviously, if you've played Undertale, the ruins has quite a few of these that Toriel kind of badly introduces. But yeah, you'll notice that, like, when it comes to actually being creative with, like, sections in my towers, I absolutely suck at it. Any cool section that I make, like, any of the sections in my towers that people are like, yeah, that's really neat, how did you come up with that? I, like, 100% of the time, I just stole it from some game that I really like. Like, I never come up with anything myself. It's actually kind of sad. But, I don't know. My entire, like, tower building career is just me trying to replicate feelings that I had when I played certain games when I was a kid, pretty much. Or, not even just a kid, I mean, like, there's a bunch of Persona-inspired stuff, too, and I was at least somewhat older when I started playing Persona. But, yeah. You get the idea. I really like this section. I've had the idea for a while of making... For some reason, every tower I make, I come up with some random, like, truss mechanic that is really cool. Like, in TO&R, I had the, like, trusses that you climb up with speed and they launch you into the air, and here you have, like, the speed truss gliding. I guess it's not anything new. It's certainly been done before, but, I don't know. I just find it so satisfying gliding on trusses with speed. Here's another rather controversial floor coming up. So, the idea behind this floor that people kind of don't get sometimes, you're supposed to be, like, suffering from hypoxia, like lack of oxygen, because obviously there's not much oxygen when you get towards the center of the Earth, as it says here. And that causes you to hallucinate. which causes you to, sorry, I keep saying causes you to. Those hallucinations are what bring about this whole, like, disco thing. I did not just add a disco in the center of the earth with no explanation. I know people are accusing me of, like, you just wanted to make a disco floor. There's no reason for this to be here. And I mean, you're kind of right, but it fits with the lore, so bear with me. Here you have a little bit of flip launcher back and forth action. I really like that jump. I've heard there's like a way to cheese that jump, but I mean, it's a netted floor, like really. I mean, do whatever you want, but this has kind of been like, my music taste has been kind of broadening over the past couple of years, and one of the biggest things is like, I'm a big city pop fan now. City pop, I guess you'd call it future funk. I don't know. I hate calling it that because it makes me sound like a loser who lives on the internet. Sorry, that's a really bad stereotype. Future funk is a perfectly fine genre, and it's very fun to listen to. It's just that for some reason a very large portion of the fan base is like chronically online. But you know, it's a good genre, and I wanted to include it in my tower, just to show everyone how awesome and broad my music taste is. And here you have one of my. I love making spinner sections like these. For some reason, just like taking the most basic stuff like lodging, climbing on trusses, and putting it onto a spinner is the most satisfying thing ever to me. I have no reason for that to be the case. But just like general rule, if you're making a spinner section like this, or you want to make a spinner section like this and you need ideas, literally just take regular mechanics from your tower and find a way to incorporate them into a spinner, because doing so will force you to be creative. And that, like, in general, spinners or otherwise, forcing yourself to be creative is the best thing you can do as a tower builder. Put yourself in situations where you have to think outside the box, and you will automatically make cool stuff. That is the lazy, I don't know. I should probably fix that box beam. I guess that's like the work smarter, not harder building mentality. That's what you want to do. Sorry, my brain is starting to get shot. I've been talking for almost 20 minutes already. This is my favorite floor. So there's a couple of different things that inspired this floor. Obviously, like, when I build, I pick songs first and then I build, so this floor was very much based around this song. But also, the lights that are, like, floating around, Dex022 always puts these in his towers. Like, Tokop has them, I think Brutal and Bizarre Torment might also have them. But my point being, I always wanted to make them because I thought they were really cool. And so here they are, and I think they do look cool. I also always had the idea from the very beginning of having the floor be like split half and half. One half is punishing and the other half is just normal. And so, once again, that's exactly what I did. And here you have this very foreboding bottomless pit, which will make its presence known once again on the 10th floor of the tower. These trusses, there is this one truss section on like floor 7 of TO1R. For some reason, like, one very specific person, I think it was X1, played that section, and they were like, damn, Zach, you're really good at making truss gameplay, and I was very flattered by that. And for some reason, it's always stuck in my head that, like, you can make pretty basic truss flick gameplay, but if you set up the jumps in the right way, it can still be super satisfying. And so I wanted to make another section like that, and that was what I did in that GBJ area. And here's some no-jump gameplay. Very similar to the spinner, I just tried to find ways to incorporate mechanics into a no-jump section as best I could. Okay. Now, this will require some more explanation. There's this. So I started playing. I'm not like I wouldn't call myself like an avid Geometry Dash player, but I got into the game kind of last year, less to like beat hard stuff and more because I feel like some of the like 4, 5, 6 star levels are just really cool. And one of the daily levels when I first started, I mean, I still haven't played much, I have like 1,000 stars or something, but one of the daily levels when I first started playing was called Empty Space, and it's still my favorite level in the game. It has these like really cool transitions, really cool design, that's like simplistic but at the same time really complex. I don't know, I can't really explain it, you kind of have to play the level for yourself, but that was where I had the idea to make this section. I wanted to try to transfer that to a tower as best I could. And this is what I came up with, and I think it's pretty cool. I was just going for the, like, fabric of reality itself rips apart vibe. I don't know. I wanted to make stuff that was like, man, I can't talk right now. You know. Yeah, I wanted to make cool stuff. There you go. That's the best way I can explain it right now. This was my attempt. So, Synthetti, the person who made, like, Chicken Song Roblox ID, Big Blocky Beefy Buttons, all that, is making this citadel right now. That's, like, his last tower, and it has this crazy transition to, like, a B-side area that's just, like, mind-blowing every time you do it. It has this, like, giant open room with a bunch of big structures, and I was like, damn, I gotta make something like that. I have to make something like that. And so, that was why I made this floor the way it is. Really big cavern, giant stalactites. I think I did it. I think I did it justice. I feel like when you come down into this floor for the first time on a legit run, it kind of hits you. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted a room that made you feel something. That's what I was going for. Sorry, by the way, I haven't really been, like, actually commentating the gameplay in the tower so far. I feel like with my... Sorry. Ooh. Man, I did that totally wrong. I feel like in my T1R commentary, I was, like, only talking about gameplay. And that made it kind of boring and uninteresting as a dev commentary, because if you really want gameplay commentary, you can watch, like, an Adamir guide or something. So I wanted to actually talk more about the tower this time. Okay. Shift lock needs to be off. There we go. Okay. I wanted to talk more about the tower this time. And, I mean, you can still see what I'm doing with these jumps if you just watch me, you know. Alright. So yeah, these outsides, they obviously end your run. But the gameplay, I intentionally tried to make it as easy as possible because, as I've learned from Teehee Time and T1R and TODI, when you make punishing gameplay, people's skill level drops like 3 difficulties when they do it. So, I'm always worried about my punishing gameplay being too simplistic. But I feel like I hit the perfect sweet spot in this tower between the gameplay is still interesting, but it's also much easier than the rest of the tower. So, you shouldn't have a problem sight reading it, I imagine. Little T1R throwback there. This is my favorite jump in the tower. Yeah! I also apologize if I've been, like, riding my own meat, so to speak, a lot in this guide. I don't know. I don't mean to. I don't think this tower is, like, the greatest thing ever. Because my self-confidence has been so low lately, I've been trying to focus on things that I like about stuff I make. Because I feel like it's just obnoxious to be down on yourself all the time. And I'd rather not. I'd rather be the kind of person who can be positive, because then I can be there for other people. So, yeah, that is what I am trying to do. I hope that I do not come across as, like, self-centered. It is a dev commentary on my own tower. I don't have much to talk about but myself. Well, I can talk about Kaloi. What was I going to say about Kaloi? I told you that floor 7 was his favorite floor. I don't know. Now it's getting kind of creepy. I'm talking about Kaloi too much. Here we go. Cool. Oh shoot, I almost failed that. Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky jump, but I think it's cool. I like camera control stuff like that. And now you're safe again. There is a secret button. So I changed the floor 10 song a bunch of times because I just could not settle on what I wanted it to be. Because I figured, like, this floor is huge. It's got to be super impactful. It was core genocide for a while from Undertale, which I still think would have been a decent choice. I don't think it would have been bad. And then it was because the Super Mario RPG came out, and Kaloi, yet again, told me I should use the Cool-X battle theme. Which I did, and I thought it was really good, but it didn't quite fit the floor. I still wanted to keep it though, so if you clip into a house on floor 1, you can actually hit a button that adds that back to floor 10. And then eventually I settled on Persona 4 Memory for the first half, which fit the vibe really well. And then pick up the intensity a bit in the second half with this Smithy battle theme. This Trust gameplay, very few know this, but this is based on floor 10 of Thanos Tower. I always, like, whenever I get there on a legit run, I just feel like the Trust part is so, like, adrenaline-inducing. I love just gliding across trusses and doing flicks super fast. So I wanted to replicate that, because, again, my entire building style is replicating things that I think are cool. So, you know, I went for it. Kaloi stole this jump in Kui. Yeah. There you go. The timer's super lenient. I nerfed it a couple times. I don't mean for it to be hard. I just want you to have to keep moving. I don't want you to be able to, like, stop. But I also don't want you to have to rush. And here's the last water section. I thought for a while about what I wanted this fourth, like, inside part to be. And eventually I figured, bring back the water. People still complain about the water not being used enough. I personally don't really know what more I could have done with it. But, alright, here we go. This is, a lot of people think this is like one of the harder jumps in the tower. I don't think it's that bad. This one too. Just look ahead. Know what camera movement you're going to do. Because as long as you do the right camera movement, it's not like super precise. You just have to move correctly. This is my evil jump right here. People really, because you've seen how I do flicks. You've watched this guide. I flick with my mouse. A lot of people like to shift flick like that. And they get pissed at me every time I bring up the idea of like forcing them to flick manually, because I find manual flicking way more satisfying. So I figured, okay, I won't do it a ton in this tower, but at least one time I gotta stick in like a really nasty jump that forces you to flick manually, and that's what I did there. I apologize if you're one of those people who does not like that. And here we go, we have reached the end of the floor. I don't know, I really like 10. It was supposed to be like kind of an inverse of TO1R Floor 9, where TO1R Floor 9 is like super high energy, really scary, really hard gameplay. I wanted 10 Tobite to be more like unsettling. Like, it makes you feel just uncomfortable. And I hope I pulled that off well. I hope you think I did pretty well. The gameplay is not like the greatest thing ever, but... And here we are. We have reached the end of the tower. The Bismolite is here. We can take it away. Just kidding. Ha 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 ha. Down it goes. I had the idea for this final stretch for a while. Obviously, I kind of copied the, like, very end part from TOAI, but I think it's worth copying because it's such a cool idea. But yeah, this song originally was going to be the... Well, it wasn't going to be the B-side song for sure, but Zquiddy wanted me to use it for the B-side song. So, since I scrapped the B-side and I was looking for a good final stretch song, I realized this Persona 5 Strikers Counter-Strike was like the perfect song just for what I was going for. So, I ended up using it here. Those giant raps, again, because I wasn't using any teleporter transitions, I had to think long and hard about, like, okay, how the hell am I going to get you from, like, way down there all the way back up to the start of the tower? And this is what I came up with. Giant raps with giant jump boosters. And as you can see, the timer is not super strict, but it does allow for this really cool music sync right at the end here before you go into, personally, the best part of the tower, if you ask me. But here we go. I don't really want to say anything here. I'm letting it speak for itself. I'll say something. Yeah, this is all a morpher. I just welded all this stuff to a morpher to create the illusion of movement. And I don't know if this has been done in a tower before. I know at least something similar has been done in TOAI with beams. But yeah, I figured I always wanted to make like a minecart section like that, but I didn't want the physics to be all screwed up with like actual moving minecarts. So I thought, okay, let's just make it look like you're moving when the minecarts are actually staying in one place the whole time. And that's exactly what I did. So this entire tunnel actually morphs, and the minecarts just stay in the same place. That's why they play so cleanly like that. And there you go. That's the tower. Like, I feel like I had more to say this time, but I don't know. I guess I can save that for the Wish Park dev commentary. But yeah. And then, now that you're back up on the surface, I was just lazy and made it so you just take an X pusher all the way back to spawn. And I finished the tower right after 2.2 came out, so of course you have the fire in the hole. I'm not getting rid of it, it's funny. Now this is another really funny thing, and a lot of people get really mad at me for this, and they're like, why on earth would you make us redo this 10-stud wrap raised by 1 at the end of the tower? Well, I'll show you. It is netted. There's no need to complain. Now you have my generic thanks. Kaloy is actually not the first person thanked on this sign like he is in my other towers, because he was kind of just not there while I was building this. He was working on Kutwi instead. And this and Kutwi will be at their nice little home together in Realm 4. Everyone's dialogue changes after you beat the tower. Of course, you have this funny Guitar Hero Styles reference. What does Dark Halisk say again? Oh yeah, I said GG 5 times, now I'm banned from Tovite. Yeah, these are all just inside jokes. You know, I verified Walter White. Laser did in fact verify Walter White. Mazer. I'm not even gonna bother explaining that one. This one's good too. You won't talk to Daddy. What does Lucy say? Toe her harder, of course. I asked Bree what she should say, or like what album she wanted to recommend, and she said Atrocity Exhibition. So that's what I put there. Storm wanted me to use a Fire Emblem Engage song on 10. I actually was going to use it for a while because it is a really good song, but I just it wasn't like hitting me enough. This tower kind of mid. Thanks, friend. TONT, which will also be in Realm 4. Yeah, I mean that's about it. What does Adamir have to say? Emoji 44. I'm not explaining that one either. This is just cool art that Miko has. Miko does nothing. They're using something like that. Mods YTV2 made of the tower, and I thought, oh, that's cool. Let me add it to the tower. So there it is. Anyways, yeah. Now you've collected the Bismolite. You've traded it in, and you can obtain the wind pad for yourself. So congrats. If you are using this as a guide to beat the tower, which I don't know why you would, congrats on beating it. If you're just watching this for general info, thank you for watching. I'm glad that you put up with my rambling for 30 minutes straight. And thanks to all of you for like supporting me as I've built. I do this for you guys. Like, I do this because like building stuff that makes people happy is something I find fulfilling. So if you are someone who finds that you find joy in playing my towers, thank you, like genuinely, for that, because it makes it all worth it. It makes the 8 months per tower that I spend painstakingly getting down on myself for no reason, it makes it all worth it. So thank you guys for sticking around. I hope you're excited for Wish Park. Well, I guess it's the dark hour now, but yeah, I hope I can make it worth it for all you guys who have stuck around through the good, the bad, the ugly, the Tower of Unyielding Resolve, you know. But yeah, and yeah, thank you guys. I hope you enjoy.